portions of this program may not be suitable for those under the age of 18. Parental guidance is suggested.
Sponsored by Common Ground Golf Course, a place for all and all the game teaches.
Beer30 is when you walk into a bar or a VFW, and in that 30 seconds, you can already tell.
That guy right there is drunk, that guy's an idiot, and that guy down there knows it all.
There are programs out there beyond the VA.
Many non-profit organizations. The Beer30 Show.
It's the Beer30 Show. Made by veterans.
For veterans.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Beer30 Show with Danny and Joel, broadcasting from two different states. It is two veterans with one mission to show that there are more programs beyond the VA. My name is Joel.
And this is Danny.
Thank you for joining us. And remember, before we get started, you can always tune in via MB Radio or type in Military Brotherhood Radio in your Apple or Play Store, or use Simple Radio and tune in. Remember that if you'd like to chime in, you can call in at 720-316-0368 or message us at Facebook page show. So without further ado, let's get started.
Well, I'm gonna reiterate there real quick. It's the Beer30 Show on Facebook, because all I heard is the show. Well, we are the show. I'm gonna sit there and be conceited. We are the show. So, Joel, how are you today?
Oh, I tell you what, everybody, I'm gonna let the secret out of the bag. We have been, me and Danny and our special guest has actually been talking for the last 12 minutes, and I forgot to hit broadcast, so we've been talking to the air instead of the mic, so it's dead air. So my boss wrote me and he's like, are you trying to get online? I get the Bonehead Award for today. We don't have to give that out. I will say, and this is a good cue for this, we will apologize to everybody for not having a show on Friday due to technical difficulties, but we're here today with two different segments. On the line today, we have Joe Coddington from Ride2Recovery, and then on the second segment, instead of Power Play, we will talk to Brian and Betsy, who were supposed to be on the show this Friday. So earlier, Danny was telling me, I forget what you was telling me. We were talking about sweet whispers in the ear. You said something very nice, and go ahead and repeat that.
Well, I think you were telling me about how much you love me and look up to me, and that I am such an inspiration to you, Joel. You were like praising me on your knees, like literally on your knees, praising me at the webcam. It was great if everybody didn't see it. So, Joel,
that's how I remember it.
See, even our listener Joe remembers it that way.
Hey, Joe, he doesn't need any support. Let me tell you, he has enough support. You know, you can put mud on his head and he'll think it's something positive. Let me tell you, that's the kind of person Danny is. So trust me.
Positive and patient. Positive and patient.
You don't need to give him any support. Let me tell you. But I was telling Danny that was like, he said something, and I told Danny that was really sweet of him to say that. And then I got TBI. I forget this stuff.
Oh, I remember now, Joel. Okay. We were talking to Joe, because Joe is a former Marine.
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm gonna steal your spotlight for a second, Joe.
Yes, go ahead.
Joe is a former Marine. He's with us today from Ride2Recovery. And we were talking and making jokes about the Army and the Marines, and I called him a jarhead, and we talked about you being a backpacker. And then I said, Joe, there is a good one against the Navy, and it's since we're all called squids, I said that a good comeback is, do you know what the definition for a squid is? In the dictionary, it says a lower form of marine life.
Oh,
And then
yes.
Joel said, "Don't worry, I don't feel you're not a lower form." It was so sweet. I thought he might have given me roses. So I said, since it was Valentine's Day, I'm going to give you a compliment too, Joel. And I complimented him on his nice haircut that he just got.
And Joe started, he's like, oh, and then I'm like, Joe, that's not really nice since, I don't have any hair. So, yeah. That's like, hey, you know what? We didn't say this earlier, but I'm going to say that's like a compliment coming from Sheldon. You have no idea what you're saying. But without further ado, before we get too late in the program, because we know he has things that he has to do, and what he has to say about his program is really, really important. Joe, we have Joe on the line. Joe, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very, very well. I appreciate the recap of the conversation because it's important to remember that the one plus side is you do get to save on the barber budget when you don't have hair, which I'm looking forward to because I only have a couple strands holding on still. So I'll be right there with you shortly on the no haircut thing.
There we go.
Well, since we coming a little bit late now, we're going to make this quick, but you did a great job explaining it when we weren't on the air. Thanks, Joel. You actually answered like 4 or 5 of the questions we were going to ask you. So all we have to really do is ask you about, again, how did your show start? Or how did your foundation start? And what was the inspiration behind it? And what do you guys do?
Okay. I'll try to do it the exact same way. Let's see. How to say it? No, just kidding. Actually,
maybe we should have Joel. Maybe we should have Joel like re-listen to it.
No, let me try and we'll see. I'll see if I don't mess it up too bad. Okay, Ride2Recovery started a while back. I believe we're in our 10th year. But basically, it started with there was a group at the Palo Alto VA that were starting to use bike riding, and they were excited with what they were seeing. And they called our founder, John Warden, on the phone. And John went up there and saw what could happen. So John came back, and sort of Ride2Recovery was born from that. And what we do is we save lives by restoring hope and purpose, which, when you're dealing with a lot of veterans and you say things like that, it's important to really clarify what that means. When you're in, you got a family, you've got guys that have your back no matter what. Your 6 is covered. Even the guys that you're worried about, they're going to cover it when it comes down to it. And with Ride2Recovery, we help to reestablish that feeling through our programs. Our pinnacle program is our United Healthcare Challenge Series, which is 5 events that we do in the United States, and we almost always do one in Europe every year. But those are multi-day rides that are about 500 miles over 6 to 8 days that any vet can participate in. And then we move on from that to something that's very unique about us, which is our Project Hero program. And these are daily interaction where we ride anywhere from 3 to 5 days with the vets at 71 sites based throughout the country. And it really helps to reinforce what happened on a challenge. So on a challenge, you might get some improvement, you might have a breakthrough moment, and then you come back to your unit, which is your Project Hero site. And then we also have our initiatives, which is like the Women's Initiative that deals with how women deal with PTSD differently than men and how they deal with trauma differently than men. And those are 2 of those that we do every year. And we have our Century Series, which is a unique program that helps to build guys that have been in the program that want to do more in cycling, and maybe they want to start racing. It's a first-step program into teaching them how to become a bicycle racer if that's something they want to do. It's not a program for everybody, but it's a program that guys were asking for, so we made it happen. And then lastly, this is how we pay for it all. We got great sponsors in General Electric and United Healthcare that help for the big things. But nice. Our honor ride is the key to getting all this done. We have 18 of them in a year. Everybody's invited to come to them. You can check out our website at ride2recovery.com to look at the sites. But you come in, you pay an entry fee, you get to ride with vets, you can help fundraise, and you help pay to get these vets, because these wounded warriors and the injured vets don't pay to participate. We get them there, and we take care of everything because they're there to heal, and that's their job while they're with us.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Do you have anything to add, Danny, or I'll go to the question that he has already answered, but we're gonna play repeat.
Well, Joel, it's not too hard to we have these questions all ready to go. And he answered it so well the first time. I was sitting there typing Joel. Since that's how we communicate. I always put my microphone on mute, because if I don't, you'll hear my keyboard, because I'm a loud typer. And so I have to mute it. And I'm sitting there talking to Joel while Joe's talking. And I'm like, okay, he answered my next question already. And then I'm like, okay, he answered your question. Okay, he answered my question after that already. So it's your turn again, Joel. And
well, I'm just going to ask this because I think it's pretty important. Describe the 5 main programs for Ride2Recovery has, and if you could briefly explain each one so the listeners know.
Just exact same way you did last time.
Yeah, which is fine. I also, I knew we lost 12 minutes because we forgot the broadcast, so I was jumping ahead. Maybe I was a little over anxious, but really, the key things, we have 5 programs, but the 3 things that really tick for these veterans is the United Healthcare Challenge Series, which are the multi-day events. Anybody can come to that. If you're a civilian and you want to come to participate that, which I highly recommend, you do need to cover your bills, which is about $5,000, what it costs us to take a vet on one of these trips. You need to fundraise as a civilian to participate, but you can see things happen in a participant over the 6 days that they're riding. We'll get a vet come in who's very, in a closet, so to speak. He's in a dark place. He's looking at the floor on day 1. And by day 6, he's giving people high fives. He's talking. He's really coming out of that shell that he was in, and then he's got to go home and be by himself. And anybody that's been through that can understand where that's at. And then that's where Project Hero comes in. Nice. Then he's got a support network in that local Project Hero, which that's like his unit. So you've got the guys you deploy with, you have you have your division that you're with in country, but when you come home, you've got your shop, or you've got your unit, or you've got your squadron that you're with back home, and that's your Project Hero site that you can go ride with, and you can relate to, and you can share the experiences on the challenge, so you can process this post-traumatic stress disorder, or you can work through your TBI, and bicycling really helps to heal TBI, because there's a lot of connections you made when you first rode a bike as a kid that don't go away. Your brain finds them and starts to move forward through that. And then there's the Honor Ride, which is the other main piece of what we do that helps pay for it all. I mean, sponsors are really great, and we're appreciative of all the sponsors that get involved with us, like Scott Bikes that provide equipment and everything else. But without the public and the listeners coming to these Honor Rides, paying their entry fee and help fundraising, we can't take 200 vets on a challenge. We can only take 100. A challenge itself takes $200,000 to execute. So it's an expensive task to take guys on a 500-mile ride over 8 days. And that's where Honor Ride comes in, because you, the public, can help us help your vets and your healing heroes that have come home and help them get from where they were to where they want to be. And, we say amongst ourselves, some injuries are really obvious, some aren't. And not everybody gets to participate the same way, but everybody deserves to participate in life. It's a fundamental right. We've served, we fought to protect that right. They should get that right when they come back home.
That is awesome, Joe. Real quick, I have a couple more questions for you because we're running out a little bit of time. We have about 3 minutes left. The challenges, what are the upcoming events for the challenges? And where do people sign up for the Honor Ride?
Certainly. Challenges, the next one we've got coming up is March 6th. Registration day is on March 5th, but it runs 6th through the 11th. Starts in Atlanta, and it will end in New Orleans. Lots of cool stops on the way. We actually go to Tuskegee Airfield, and then we for our vets of African Americans, they asked that we could go to Selma this year. So we're actually going to do the Civil Rights March backwards and visit some of the historic sites on the way. We do like to make it, a learning experience as well. Not everybody gets to see all those things. So we have that one. Then we've got one coming up in Texas in April that people can sign up for still. The Gulf Coast Challenge is full. But then you have Texas. Then we have Memorial, which will be in D.C. area. Then we have the 9/11 Memorial Challenge. And then we have California at the end of the year. Vets can go to ride2recovery.com and sign up. Civilians can sign up the same way. Just when you get in, there's different boxes you check. If you're a civilian and you want to participate in the United Healthcare Challenge Series, you do need to fundraise. If you are a wounded warrior or an injured vet, it's going to be free to you. If you have any questions, you guys can call in to our office, and myself or Jim Goodbody will answer all your questions for you. Honor rides, there's 18 of them. They're all over the country. You can go to ride2recovery.com, sign up, fundraise, participate, come out. I really cannot say enough. I was a professional cyclist. I've been involved in cycling my whole life, and I was in the middle of my second challenge, and I looked over at the guy next to me riding, and in my mind I said, I've spent my whole life racing bikes and being involved in cycling, but this is what bicycles were meant to do. To see his eyes light up and come out of that dark space he was in over those 6 days made me realize why we're doing what we're doing and why it works. So, come to the website, sign up, participate, or just donate and really see what's going on.
Awesome, Joe. And, before we let you go, and I apologize because we could spend so much more time, but I goofed up. But hey, at least we got you on there. You got to talk a little bit about the organization. People can get on our Facebook page and they'll be able to see the past interview and tell exactly what Ride to Recovery is. Can you please tell the listeners real quick a summary of your website address and other ways that they can contact your organization?
Perfect. The website is www.ride2recovery, recovery.com. You can look up Ride to Recovery on Facebook. You can find us there, or you can go to that website, or if you want, you can email me personally. I'll answer your questions. My email is josephc@ride2recovery.com. If you're a vet, you want to get involved, we'll find a place for you. That's what we're here to do. We're going to get you where you need to go.
Awesome. Well, Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us a little bit and talk to the listeners. And once again, I'm so sorry that I've basically cut your time. We'll have Joe on again soon in the near future, so he can tell even more about it and more about the successes that they're going to have in the next coming months. So once again, Joe, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it being on, and great to meet you guys. And anybody out there has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're here to help, and that's what we want to do.
Thank you.
And Joe, thank you for your service as well.
Thank you guys as well.
So we got three branches representing at the moment, so that's kind of nice.
Well, the Air Force guys are out playing golf, or they'd be here too.
Well, from what I understand, they're at home with their sippy cups and blankets at the moment.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Joe.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and I look forward to being on a future episode.
Awesome. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Joe Coddington from the Ride to Recovery. He was briefly on, talked a little bit about Ride to Recovery, the program. Once again, if you want to find out more about the organization, you can reach it on our Facebook page, the Beer30 Show, or you can go to the web address, of course, ride2recovery.com. Before we go, we're going to go on a commercial break. Our next guest that we have, he not only did he serve his country, but he got cancer. And when we come back, we're going to tell how it affected his life and how it made it better. Stay tuned.
And now, a message from your radio station.
We just like to say that any connection between your mother and us is purely Facebook related.
NBR Radio.